Scribblers. I'm Katie, the founder and CEO of the Scribblers Den, your online source for writing craft courses and writing community. We're back with another interview today. We're chatting with C.W. Rose. C.W. is a fantasy and romance author. Her first book, Ocean Song, which is right here behind me, is out now. And the second book in the duet, Midnight Song, is due out to be later this year. Ocean Song is a 5-star recipient from the Reader's Favorite and also won the 2025 Book Fest Award for Romance and Fantasy. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
When CW isn't writing, she's reading books, singing karaoke, which we're going to talk about later, serving the whims of her Pekingese, right? Pekingese? I'm never sure Pekingese or Pekingese, and I don't know why that throws me every time. Pekingese dog.
Pekingese, yes.
And giving into her insatiable wanderlust or endlessly searching for new teas and recipes to try, which tea is, I think, also something we're going to talk about because I'm a huge
I love tea. I love tea so much.
Yeah.
Love it. Can't live without it. Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so let's just dive right in and get into the good juice, right? So you describe Ocean Song, which again is right behind me with this beautiful cover.
Thank you.
Romeo and Juliet meets the Little Mermaid, and I am obsessed. Okay, so I'm big pumps, especially Romeo and Juliet. I've taught for the past 16 years as a high school teacher, so like I intimately. So what can you just tell us a little bit more about your inspiration for Ocean Song and how you brought that vision to life?
Oh, okay. So let me start from the beginning. So since I can remember, I've been an ocean child at heart. I have asthma. I have bad knees. I have a chronically dislocating kneecap on my left knee, which is never very fun. Yeah, it's all right. And I think I'm getting into like arthritis in my knees. Anyway, so yeah, I've had that since I was a little kid, or I guess a teenager, more aptly. And so, which made land-based exercise a little bit hard for me, right? Because I get exercise-induced asthma. If I run, I start to wheeze a lot. It's hard for me to breathe, and my knees start to hurt. So I had to go swimming. And I found that swimming was great. Did not hurt my knees, didn't hurt my joints. And also breathing in the sea air would help my asthma, right? So it's more like a natural remedy. So I don't have to use my inhaler all the time. So yeah, from there, I love water sports. I started snorkeling. I got my scuba diving certification about 6 years. Yeah, 6 years ago now. And yeah, and I just love it. And I would always, and whenever I go scuba diving, I would always wonder what I would find under the sea. I'm like, oh, what would I find today? Is it just gonna be coral? Will I see a shark? Will I see fish? Will I see turtles? So you never know what you're gonna find.
Have you seen a shark?
I've seen a small shark.
Okay, that would terrify me.
But they mostly just ignored us. It's kind of like meandered by. I'm like, ooh, shark. Shark's like, go away, human. Fuck off. Right? And so the idea for Ocean Song came when I was on a cruise ship vacation with my family. 3 years ago now. All the years have blown together since COVID.
Yeah, you really do.
Oh my gosh. And so I was standing in the balcony and I was just kind of watching the waves just kind of rolling and churning over and over. It was very mesmerizing. And I was waiting for my family to do something. So I was just kind of standing there with nothing to do but stare at the ocean. And I started to wonder, like, if I put my scuba outfit on right now and I jumped in, like, what would I find? What would be there? And then I was like, oh, what if I find merfolk? What if they are real and just been hiding among us all this time? Right. So from there, that's like the very bare bones of Ocean Song was born. We're born.
Yeah.
More grammatically correct.
Either way, we love both.
Yeah.
No, like, and I love like just that it starts with that really basic question. I think so many of our inspiration for stories start with something really small like that, and then it grows, and now you have like 2 books.
Oh yeah.
Whole complex world and story and characters. And it just grows from something really small like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes all you need is that seed and just like let it bloom.
Yeah. No, I love it. So just to keep going with this idea a little bit. So I am also a sucker for fairy tale retellings. I can speak. And I really love
I feel the same way.
Familiarity of the story that I grew up with, and then seeing how the author puts their own spin on it. So what were some of the ways that you knew you wanted to update The Little Mermaid and or Romeo and Juliet?
So I really love this question because I actually did not come up with comps or comparative titles
Hmm.
until after I was done writing, right?
Oh,
So I did not set out to, I'm like, okay, I did not set out to say, to think, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do Romeo and Juliet meets the Little Mermaid, and then I'm just going to update it. I really just kind of wanted to write a story that had forbidden romance and
wow.
merfolk in it, and then I just kind of want to go from there. So after the manuscript was done, I was sitting there, and I know this is a lot of the bane of a lot of writers is having to distill your story into one sentence.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. I hate that so
Yeah,
much.
it's so hard. I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Like that's why I hated query letters. I hated synopses.
Yep.
And then like, oh, now you do a one sentence pitch. I'm like, oh my God, because we have like what, like 5 seconds to capture someone's attention
Hmm.
before they lose up.
Yeah,
And
before
maybe
they
it's even
move
shorter
on.
now.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So so I'm like, okay, so I need some kind of like media that has forbidden romance and merfolk or some kind of sea creature romance in it. Right. So I'm like, okay, well, so initially I pitched it as West Side Story meets The Shape of Water, which I
Okay.
still think it is closer to. It's just that not as many people know about that. Right. When I
Yeah,
told people
like
that,
not,
some
it's
people
not as well
knew,
known.
yeah, or some people would know the West Side Story and they wouldn't know The Shape of Water or vice versa. So it wasn't really super effective. And then I'm like, okay, I need something a little bit more like, well, a little bit more well known. And I'm like, oh well, West Side Story is the retelling of Romeo and Juliet. So let me use that. Majority of people know Romeo and Juliet,
Hmm.
right? That tale, and then there was the Little Mermaid, right? But I knew I just wanted to gender swap it,
Yes.
and then I just called it. I'm like, okay, so let me put those two together, make it Asian, and then just set it in the grittiness of the real world, and voila! It took me so long to come up with that comp, by the way.
It really does. I agree with you. Like coming up with comps and those one line pitches and those kinds of things, that's always what I struggle with. And I'm like, this is why I want an agent because I want them to do it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this can be your job. I don't want to do it. But right now I just make my
Yeah.
friends do it. So my friends will read it and I'd be like, I need you to write me a query letter because you now understand my book better than I do. Like
Yeah,
they
it
have
does
that like
help. Yeah.
perspective where I'm just trying to like, well, here's this cool thing and let me put this in, but they're actually focusing on like what should be in a query letter, so I just make other people do it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I always knew when writing query letters, right? So because I had a lot of trouble with my first manuscript with a query letter, like I couldn't describe my own book, which is probably why I failed in the trenches. But I'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
So and then I was told that it was by an agent and some industry professional. They're like, just zoom your story way out and try to see it for like, just like a bird's eye view. Like don't go into
Wow.
details, just give it like the very, very basics. Right. Like, oh, okay.
And it's still so tough.
That's it's because because we're so close to our work.
Yeah.
So
And
when
we know
someone outside looks
cool
at it,
things.
yeah.
We're like, but if they knew about this, like they definitely want to read it and just all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're like, don't put side plots in there. I'm like, but they need to understand the side plot, understand the main, but they just don't put it in there. Like, okay, I
Really
won't. I'll
cool.
take it out.
Yeah, it's oh gosh, I hate it. I do hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah, me too. I know. I'm preparing to so I'm finishing up another manuscript now. That's not which is I want to do it anymore because I'm done with
Mhm.
both. For now. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna query this again, maybe for an agent this time.
Yeah.
I'm like, do this query letter again, synopsis again, and three
Yay.
pump paddles again. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
let's
And
do
they're
this.
like, and some places like I see the synopsis, it kind of used to be standard to be like 2 pages single spaced, and now so many people
Mhm.
are like 1 page single spaced. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I cannot fit an
Yep.
85,000 word story into 1 page.
Yeah, and there's some agents and editors they want like a one-page synopsis. Some of them want a two-page synopsis. I've seen people
Yeah.
that want a three-page synopsis. I'm like, how many synopsis do I have to write
Yes. Yeah. Because
just to pitch
everyone, like,
this?
you want to give as much detail, like, give yourself the best chance. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
best of luck with this future project.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. We will make it through. We will find our champions,
Yeah, it's going to. It's
our
going to.
agent champions.
Yes. So in Ocean Song, there are a lot of really strong environmental themes. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you wanted to include those in the story and kind of what you hope the reader takes away from having read it, other than the amazing characters and their forbidden romance? Like, what's the environmental impact that you want them to see?
Well, first, thank you for saying that my characters are amazing. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot to hear. Uh, so yeah, I'm really into. It was kind of a recent thing where I kind of got really into environmentalism. I've always been into animal rights,
Mhm.
because I believe that we should take care of our natural world because we just have this is our home, right? We have one home to live in, And like, do we really want to give future generations a world on fire, right? Or like a heavily polluted world to live in, like for children, our nieces and nephews, and
True. Yeah.
people that come after us. And yeah, and I feel like so much of nature is just being destroyed by human activity, and I don't know if people realize what they're doing. I think a lot of people just don't realize that maybe very small actions are contributing to that or helping with that.
Hmm.
And what really broke my heart was when I saw photos of birds and sea turtles and fishes, getting stuck in plastic or, watching them or seeing pictures of them in oil spills. And
Yeah.
it's absolutely heartbreaking. So I'm like, okay, let me include that in Ocean Song, which is why this whole thing of overfishing and the merfolk are really mad because like, well, you're destroying a home, and they end up fighting. So it's like to see fighting back, so to kind
Yeah.
of reclaim what's theirs. What's the last thing I was going to say? But yeah, so what I hope readers take from it is hopefully take what you will, which I think is every author's hope.
Hmm.
But mostly but a small part of it could be that maybe we can be more aware of our everyday actions and how they affect. And because you never know who or what your actions may be hurting or helping,
Hmm. No, that's
right?
so true. And I think one of the things I really like about Ocean Song, kind of focusing on that idea of like the fish and the environment and all that, is so many of us don't understand the pollution that is happening in the oceans and in these
Mm-hmm.
great water sources because
Yeah.
we're mostly landlocked or, I mean, we're like on
Yeah,
land and
exactly.
we don't participate in that, but it's very, very real. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very real thing, and and the ocean is the source of a lot of life,
yes.
right? Like we do need the ocean to live. We need water to live.
Yep. Yeah, like it's crucial. So yeah, so I really like that you kind of chose that. I mean, obviously that makes sense because there are mermaids. um I don't know if you could
Yeah.
do
Oh,
like mermaids in the middle of the prairie, but maybe
I mean, you can find a way.
we could make this
If there are
happen.
lake
Yes.
mermaids, river mer.
Lakes.
I actually toyed around with the book three. I'm like, what if I just did like lake mermaids?
Yeah.
But how would they get there? That's another question.
Oh yeah, they were just like dropped off there and now they're stuck. I don't know.
That's actually a really good idea.
Please do this.
Maybe book three.
Yes, please do it. I think that
We'll
would be
see.
great.
We shall see.
um So in reading some of the reviews for Ocean Song, so many mentioned your lovely prose. I'm only about 100 pages in so far, so I still got to finish it. So no
Yeah.
spoilers, but
Okay.
I agree. Like it's fantastic. It's lovely. It's fun to read. It just like carries me along. I don't feel like I'm slogging through it at all, which for me as a reader is really important. And I feel like that's important for a lot of readers, right? We want to have fun while
Yeah,
we're
for
reading.
sure.
So, can you just share a little bit of your writing process with us? Does this beautiful prose show up like right from the start in your first draft, or you kind of like tease it out as you revise? Just basically tell us how we can write like you.
That's a really great compliment. Thank you so much. I never really thought of my prose as pretty because I've read a lot of books with beautiful prose. I've read my friends' books with that beautiful prose, and I never really thought of my own prose as like, beautiful or like lyrical or anything like that. I'm like, hopefully, it just makes it easy for people to read and engaging.
Yeah,
That's all I hope. Right. So kind of like the kind of books I like to read. Something
yeah,
like a little more
you have
fast paced
succeeded.
and
So,
yeah. Oh,
clap,
thank you,
clap. Good
thank you,
job. Good job.
thank you. Yeah, so the prose, sometimes, so it depends on my inspiration and time of writing the scene or the chapters. Sometimes it comes out a first draft, I get really lucky. Other times it doesn't.
Mhm.
Like with like writing my manuscript now, sometimes like, oh, I can describe. I'm very inspired by like the forest. My next book has like forests and mountains in it. So I'm just like, oh, like I'm really inspired by the forest and the trees and the mountains, and I can just make this really gorgeous description. And then I put that in and put that, and then the next day I go back and then I'm like, I'm not feeling inspired at all. I am so tired. I need to do something. So I just like dump a bunch of words on a page, leave it, come back. When I edit, I'm just like, oh, like
Yeah.
what is this? Like she went there and then he did that and he said this. I'm just like, ooh,
Those
like
are
I got
always
nothing.
like the worst days for me when I go back and I'm like, why did I write this? Why did I make this decision for this manuscript? Like, what what was I thinking? I don't know. Like, I'm just like delete.
But it makes sense at the time. At the time, it
Yeah,
makes sense. I'm like, this is, and then sometimes I'll find out that I wrote the exact same scene from an earlier chapter. I'm like, what? What is this?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my
I've done that
gosh.
too. So
But
just,
yeah,
I
so
mean, yeah. Go
what's that?
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no. I was gonna say, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the connection's like a little bit choppy. So if I interrupt, I'm really, really sorry.
Oh, it's
I
okay.
don't mean to.
No, you're allowed to
Um,
interrupt. This is your interview.
I know, but I still hate it. I hate doing it. Yeah. So in terms of the pros, so I try to think about if I'm describing something to someone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, like how would I describe it?
Mm.
I like using similarities in real life. I like using analogies in real life, maybe to help people understand like what I'm describing a little bit better. And I try to do that in my books also. Because I can't, because it's hard for me to describe like, oh, like Angie swimming in the ocean. Like, what does she look like? You could just say she's like breaststroking her way through.
Yeah,
Like,
that
oh,
that's
she looks
not
like
as
a
fun.
fish that's like swimming,
Yes.
that's like being carried through the waves, like something like that. And I feel like it gives a better visual of just trying to describe her like arm and leg movements.
Yeah, but it really doesn't. It like it helps to it just
Okay.
creates that mood and that like vibe. And you're like, okay, like this is happening. And it makes you feel so much more connected to the character than just every now and then I'll run into a book and I'm like, this feels like I'm reading a police report. Like then
Yeah.
they walked across the room and they picked up this. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I love so like I really love what you do, like what you especially with that example, like the way that she's swimming and
Mhm.
like a fish. It makes it so much better for the reader.
Yeah, because I'm also not a very visual person. Like I'm not visually inclined, and I like to be able to. So if an author succeeds in helping me see
Hmm.
what they write, like for me, that makes a more enjoyable book versus just like reading the words and not be able to visualize anything
Yeah.
because I have a
Now,
hard time visualizing on my own.
okay, so I want to circle back for just a second
Yeah.
to you were talking about like your new book is set in the forest
Hmm.
and those kind of things. I love trees. Like trees
Me too.
are my thing. Like I just like want to walk up to every tree and like put my hand on it and be like, thank you, tree. And then I want that tree to tell me its story.
Oh my
So
God, trees are amazing.
yeah. So I'm really excited about this book. So like, can I just ask
Yay.
a little bit, just like, are the trees just kind of like the setting, or are they like a major part of the plot?
Okay, so yeah, I can talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
I'm almost done. So, yeah, it's a part of the plot. It's based on Chinese mythology. So there's like a lot of bamboo trees and a lot of like trees that are found mostly in Asia. And I mean, so they're not really alive. They're more just part of the background. But I wanted to give because like the love interest lives in the forest,
Yeah.
right? He is sequestered in the forest, so the main character gets to see like a lot of different kinds of trees. She's like, oh, I don't see this in the States, but now we're in a world that's like inspired by ancient China, and I get to see all these like beautiful bamboo trees, and it just makes everything more beautiful, So I mean, I'm a big fan of trees. I feel like the trees are the source of life.
Yes.
Without trees, we'd all be dead. So we
Oh,
need to protect
favorite
we need to
part.
save our
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
proud to
So
be a tree hugger.
yeah, 100%. I just every time. And like if I get to go to a big forest, I'm like, oh, I have come home. So yeah, so I'm every time everything that I'm hearing about your like next book, I am super excited for. So agents, pick this up. I'm never sure which side you're actually going to be on in the final video. So I just,
Just do
uh,
both sides, either way you win.
yeah, yeah, pick up CW's book, do it. All right.
Thank you. I hope so.
So here's a two-part question for you. So by day, you're a
Okay.
physical therapist.
Hmm.
What skills or practices from your job have transferred over into the world of C.W. Rose, the writer? And then I'll do part two in a second.
Okay, so that's an interesting question because I had to think about this one. I'm like, huh, because it just seems like two completely different worlds
Hmm.
when I think about it. But then on the flip side, like I'm really good at describing injuries, right? Like if somebody were to get shot in the shoulder, I'm like, oh, I know what nerve is affected. I know what part of the arm, would be affected, whether it be numb or would it be like tingling,
And that is
would it be
wildly
weak?
important to writers. Like we need
Yeah,
to, like we're Googling that stuff all the time.
So yeah, if you have PT questions, let me know. I'm here. I'll do my best, or I'll find the answer for you. So
Awesome.
that does help, yeah, because I do write fantasy. I do write, like a lot of I do write action sequences. I say, okay,
Mhm.
if someone got kicked here, what would happen?
Yeah.
Like where would they be injured? Would they be able to walk later? What would they need to be treated for? If a character gets hurt and like needs PT later, like oh, and like I know this whole sequence, like oh, they go to PT, they get the home exercises, they need to practice it at home, they go back, every few weeks kind of thing or every week.
Yeah.
So in terms of like PT practice, so that's help with that, and also my day job, I do work primarily with wheelchair users, so people who are paralyzed
Hmm.
from either the waist or the chest down. And in writing the merfolk, it made it interesting because I was able to kind of use that knowledge to figure out how they would move around on land. Because the merfolk, they can't shift.
Okay.
They just have a big old tail when they come on land.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like, oh,
gonna
how
be
would they
completely
move?
useless for them as soon as they
Hmm.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, so the merfolk are able to use their tails to move, but they look they look very clumsy and they're very slow if they had
Mhm.
to like jump on land or move around on land.
Right.
Um, and also got to play around a little bit with like mobility devices, like like wheelchairs or the things that people used to move around, which will be more prominent in book two.
Yeah.
Because I was able to, because I really wanted to give Kaden and Angie like a land date, and I'm like, how would he get around? Would he use a wheelchair? What kind of wheelchair we use? Would he use this or that? So I got to play around a couple of mobility devices for him to use to get
No,
around.
that's awesome. Like I love that you're able
Yeah.
to bring, that
Hmm.
it's that idea of write what you know. And you're able to bring that in and put it into the books.
Yeah. And my character from my upcoming book with the trees is actually a physical therapist.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm like, I need to do this.
You are so
Hmm.
right.
I need
Okay,
to do
so
this.
part
Yeah.
two of this question is how do you juggle both parts of your life and find balance between these two aspects, like find time to do your day job and write these books?
So it does help them very good at compartmentalizing.
Okay.
So when I go to work, I am just like, well, Christine is my real name. So I go to work, I'm Christine, the physical therapist. I put my PT hat on. I'm fully in the role, except for my lunch breaks where I kind of sometimes I, do a little write during my lunch breaks.
Right.
Or if I get to work early, I'm sitting in my car waiting to go in. Uh, and then I go home in a second I walk through those doors, end of the day, I take off that PT hat and I become Christine, the author or the helpful granddaughter slash daughter slash dog mom. So yeah, so but that's not to say that I keep the two lives completely separate. I still find it that they're, that my two jobs kind of link into each other.
Mhm.
So I was looking for the right words to describe that. Like I use my PT knowledge in my writing and also now being an author and doing all these interviews, which I was terrified of before. I was so scared of interviews. I was so scared of public speaking. I was terrible at it. It's also made me a lot more confident in my day job, right? Like
Oh,
being able
that's
to talk to
great.
people and being able to do public speaking without like shaking to the point where I lose my voice. And I'm just like,
Yeah, and I
I
feel
still
like
do. It's not
that's
as bad now.
yeah, and I feel like that's something that sometimes like we want to be authors, but we don't always
Hmm.
think about like, well, now I'm gonna have to talk to people about my
Yeah.
book. And
Yep.
so you're not just talking to people, you're talking about something that's like near and dear to your heart, and that is a little intimidating at times.
It's very intimidating. When I first, like, when people outside my writing circle ask for my book, even my coworkers, I start shaking. I still
Yeah.
do. And like, oh, is it a romance? I'm like, yeah. They're like, is there sex? I'm like, why do you have to say this in the middle of the? And I've had people ask me this repeatedly. I'm like, why? Why would you ask me this? Why don't you read the book? Ah, so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, I work with you. Stop.
Like I don't want you don't read pages this through this. Like just skip those pages. Skip that section.
Yeah, I've actually toyed with the idea because my family is very traditional Chinese, and you know, um, and I guess so they really aren't big into like open door scenes and stuff like that. So when they bought my book, and my mom told me she was reading it, I wanted to die.
Yeah, but that's just like a whole nother thing is because I
Hmm.
have that like I wrote an adult book. There's some open
Hmm.
open door scenes in it. And I'm like, oh
Right
my God,
on.
like what's gonna happen? Like if this gets published in any way. And my mom's like, I'm gonna read it. Because my mom has kind of read some of my stuff before and I love her. Like, hi mom. Sometimes she watches these videos.
So
So
sweet. Love
how's it going?
it. Yay.
Um, but she'll be like, why did you include that? You didn't have to have that in there. And I'm like, okay.
I'm like, but it's a romance, and it's a way for them to come together, and it does move the plot forward.
It does. Yeah. It's not
And
just,
even if it doesn't, even if it doesn't, it's fine.
yeah.
Sometimes people just want to be a little smart.
Yep. Yeah. Like
Hmm.
whatever it's there for, like it can be there. It's okay. So yeah. So I do feel
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. I totally totally went off topic, and I forgot
Oh,
what the question was. I'm sorry.
um, you answered the question though, because I asked you kind of how you juggle and find balance between the two parts of your life. And then I don't know how exactly we got onto like, but we got there. I'm sure when we go back, it'll all make sense. So
Exactly.
it's on topic. It all works.
Hmm.
All right. So we mentioned earlier, way at
Yeah.
the beginning, you talked a little bit about like having to write those dreaded query letters and synopsises and all of
hmm
that. So, did you query Ocean Song at all to agents, or was self-publication the goal right from the start? Can you share a little bit about what your publishing journey was like and why you chose to go with Hey Hey Books as your publisher?
I would love to. Okay, I
Yeah.
hope this because I hope this inspires somebody because I was in Aquarium trenches for close to 6 years
Oof.
between two
Yeah.
manuscripts. Yeah, it was this rejection after rejection. It was really it was rough. It was very demoralizing. I also in Aquarium trenches. We call it trenches for a reason. You will
Yeah.
have the highest highs and the lowest lows because you can get
Yes.
a full request one day and then a form rejection the same day,
Yep.
right? Or multiple of either
Yeah. And
one.
then you wait 6 months for
hmm
somebody to read your book and they're like, it was nice, but not for me. Thank
They're
you.
hi. They're like, hi. Thank you for thinking me. It's not right for me. Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, oof. Okay. So yeah. So I knew from the start that I wanted to be traditionally published because as much as I respect self-published authors, and I really do, because their hustle is amazing. Like
Yeah.
what, and they have, and I know some amazing self-published authors, but I did not
Like
have that.
yourself. You're
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. And I didn't feel like I had the time or the knowledge to go about it completely on my own, right?
Mhm.
So I also, wanted somebody with me to hold my hand, especially do the debut process. I wanted someone to do the cover for me and to do the formatting for me, and also like the editing and maybe a little bit of marketing, right? Because let's get real, even big five published authors have to do their own marketing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Right. I think publishers are kind of doing less and less marketing unless you're like a lead title, which is not that many people every
No.
year, right? So like I said before, I queried for close to 6 years. I sent out my first query for a YA fantasy, which was back in January 2018, and I signed with Hey Hey Books in October 2023.
Okay.
So it was it's a little so it's a close to 6 years. I had one manuscript out in the trenches. I queried my first manuscript for 4 years. That one just died. Got no offers, nothing, and then I queried Ocean Song for about a year and a half. And between the two manuscripts, I racked up about 250 rejections. So Ocean Song did a little bit better, has some full requests. It's just a whole year of just submitting, editing,
Mhm.
submitting, revising until I finally got my first offer about from an agent about a year later. After I queried, that agent then left her agency the day before a call, which is always fun. And then I was back in the trenches. I'm like, okay,
Oh, that's like
yeah,
that is
I was so
so
happy.
close. Oh my gosh.
And I was so happy that she's like, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm leaving my agency. I'm like, oh no. So that happened.
Yeah.
Queried for like another 3 months after that, and then I got an offer from a small publisher, and then when I gave other publishers that like 2 week window or other agents that
Mhm.
2 week window, Hey Hey also offered at the time. So I spoke to both editors. I felt like a better connection with the Hey Hey's editor. I felt like our vision for the book was similar,
Yeah.
and it just kind of felt right. And also it also helped that they had no red flags or complaints, right? Especially
Yeah.
for
That
some small
is so
publishers.
hard when you're looking at some of those small
hmm
presses, smaller publishers,
Yeah.
because I feel like half of them out there are just like bad news. So I was
hmm
actually really excited. I was like, oh, like, this is a potential place. Like if I decide to publish one of my novels, I was like, I could potentially go to Hey Hey Books because they're legit.
hmm Yeah, they're all legit, and they recently signed their second author, I think, a few months ago.
Mhm.
But yeah, was it another part to your question that I
Was it
segued
just like
again?
what was just kind of like what your journey was like, and you
Okay.
did all of that? So yeah, no, A plus.
Oh, thank you. Yes. As you notice, I talk to my friends like this too, and they understand this about me that I just like I go off on tangents, and then I go off on another tangent, and then another tangent. I'm like, I forgot what the original topic of the conversation
Yeah,
was,
no, that's fine.
and they're like, you know what? I forgot to. It's okay.
Your the YA novel that you originally queried, do you think you'll ever go back to that and revise it and either self-publish it or maybe like it'll crawl out of the shadows in a couple of years?
So I am revising that now. So that's the story that I completely revamped. I made it into an adult romantasy. I
Okay.
changed. I changed. I think only the two character names are the same. That's pretty
Hmm.
much about it. Right. There's some things that are the same endings, still very similar, but I completely changed it revamped it to adult versus YA.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so that's the one I'm working on right now. So that's like a completely revamped version. I'm gonna retitle it and hope for the best, and hopefully it does better this time
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so
as an
excited.
adult book and with the knowledge that I have now.
Yeah. And I think that does make
Right.
a difference. I did an interview just the other day, and we talked about that author was taking something that he had written when he was like
Hmm.
11, and he was revising it, but like, and very little of it like was the same. Like it's got a completely different story, but just
Yeah.
that idea of the perspective that,
Hmm.
or 20 years worth of life has given him and
Oh
writing
yeah,
that is just, it's amazing. So
for
yeah.
sure. Well, I hope he does. Well, I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, I'm excited for it to come out. It sounds really cool. It's going to be like another 2 years. So
I know publishing is because publishing is so slow.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So another two-part question for you, and I'll do them one part at a time.
Okay, I'm
I
listening.
was looking at your Facebook page, and you attend a lot of publishing events. So question one, how important do you feel attending book and publishing events is in finding new
Mhm.
readers for your story?
So it is. So it is one way out of many, and I don't ever want anyone to think that that is the only way.
Mhm.
It is a very legit way to meet people, right? Because you get to meet people in real life, but also keep in mind that there are people that don't live in this country, and they don't live anywhere close to where where they do book events, or they
Mhm.
can't afford to go there, or they don't have the time to go there, or the means to go there, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's yeah, so like I said, it's just one way of many. I personally like it. Again, I was very, very scared of them because I'm like, oh shoot, I have to go in person and pitch my book and pretty much be a salesperson.
Yeah.
And to me, that's terrifying. It's like shaking my boots. I'm like, let me have some coffee before this. I'm ready. Um, but then again, I mean, pitching or I guess talk about your book online and in print also, it's just as good for reaching readers, if not better. In-person events I like because I get to talk to people in person, right? And there's no feeling like talking to an interested reader
Yeah.
who has not read your book yet, and you pitch your book to them, and you see that like gleam in their eye, and they're like, okay, keep going. I really like this. I really like this. And I like that there is an opportunity for like a live Q&A after that. They're like, okay, well, I like this. Well, tell me more about like, is there a happy ending?
Yeah.
Um, or they're like, oh, what's the spice level? Are there open door scenes? Is there closed door? And do the Merfolk shifts? So I've had questions that just asked like that, whereas maybe online they don't get that chance for the live question
Mhm.
answer, especially with the author. And there's honestly no better feeling than to see your readers in person and get to hug them,
Yes, that's so
and
true.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Um,
it.
as somebody who has attended different book events, did you ever make it to BookCon when BookCon was still a thing?
No, I don't even know what it was, and I live in New York City, which which annoys me. I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was,
Um,
and I saw that it coming back, and every author is just like, I want to go to this. I'm like, I want to go to this. I can take a train there. I don't have to fly anywhere.
yeah, it's totally worth it. Like highly recommend, like buy your pass, go. So
Oh
I
my
went
gosh, yeah.
3 years in a row and then it shut down because of COVID.
Hmm.
As an attendee, I just loved it. And like there were some like indie published authors who would walk around like because you had to line up before they'd like let you in.
Yeah.
Walk around like handing out like QR codes or samples of their book or like a bookmark and they would like tell you about it. And just so many people that I got to meet. And I love, for me, authors are rock stars. So I'm like, I want to get my picture, like sign this. And I just like, you guys are so cool.
Hmm.
So from the other side of that, like everything you just said, same.
I mean, Book House is amazing, by the way, and it sounds like chaotically fun,
Yeah.
and I hope I can go to see it. Yeah, I did talk to them about being an author there, but as a baby indie author, it's probably harder for me to get in. But I would go as an attendee. I
But
feel like,
maybe like
yeah,
talk
you
to
never
Hey
know.
Hey Books, be like, you guys need to have a table there and you need to have me signing books. Like let's do this.
Yeah, I should tell them that. I'm like, fly to New York City. I'm like, it'll give you a lot of exposure,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah,
You
do
know,
it.
I'll talk to them about that. I don't know if they'll do it, but I'll talk to them.
And the worst that's going to happen is a no, but you got to ask because you got to take those chances.
Yes, and that is my mantra with query, right?
Yeah.
When you're querying, send your book out there, and yeah, and I know there's a question for later, but I'm just like, just take your chance, right?
Yeah.
Because the worst thing to say is no, but if you never take your chance, the answer is always no,
Yeah.
right? By default.
You got to put
Hmm.
it out there.
Exactly.
So the second part of this two-part question is what has been your favorite event that you've attended so far and why?
Uh, hmm. So I liked all of them, and I know it's a cop out answer. I really really liked the Gold Coast Book Fair. It is a very small and intimate little book fair, it was actually close to where I went to school for
Hmm.
physical therapy, and May was my first year going. And it's this event, they don't charge you to, like, they don't charge you a table fee. You
Oh,
just go
nice.
in, you do panels, and they treat you really well. And it's just like this adorable family friendly event. You go there to do panels. It's just so small, so intimate. I got to meet I mean, I always meet amazing new to me writers and
Mm.
authors, but getting to meet them and they're more local to me. And I'm like, oh, that's really, really cool. Right. And also the food was good. And
Yeah.
they don't charge you for it. So I'm like, that's a bonus.
The best part is always when
Yeah,
there's good food, 100%.
exactly. I mean, when did I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna eat that much today. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
So that was the day I thought I'm gonna do a juice fast today. And I went in there. They had like prosciutto and they had like ricotta whip and like these freshly toasted baguettes. I'm just like, I'm not juicy anymore. I'm eating.
No, that sounds absolutely amazing. And so
Yeah,
apologies, everybody. My dog has heard something and now he's barking. So I will mute myself after I ask you this next question.
it's okay. They always bark at the worst times,
Yeah,
right? My dog does too.
seriously. Oh, what is your best advice for all the writers that are tuning in today? How can they achieve their own publishing dreams?
Oh, okay. So I have two pieces of advice. So one, if you're writing, like you have to write what you love. And I know that's so cliche because we hear a lot, about write what you know, which is fine, but writing what you love, I feel like it just elevates your story that much more. Because I feel like your passion will show on your pages, right? The love of your story will show because you're gonna have to market this over and over and over and over after it's published, right? And I always feel like if you don't love your own story, then how can you expect others to, right? So that's one piece of advice. And the second piece of advice
One's really
is,
good. Like that's if you don't love it, then you're not going to want to write it or sell it or talk about it.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's something that I didn't realize either until I got published was that I didn't realize how much talking about my own book was going to be and finding different ways to market it. Because you have to, you literally, because there's a joke, I heard it, which is kind of it's tragically true. They're like, you write a book, you get it published, and then you market it until you die. I'm like, well, I can see the merits of that,
Yeah,
sadly.
that's not untrue.
Because even, yeah, I mean, it's close to a year later of publishing it, and I'm still like heavily marketing it.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, well, I gotta keep, because that's how you find your readers,
Yeah,
right? In the hopes that,
and
yeah.
you're about to have the second book out, so I mean, like
Hmm.
it's you've gotta get it out there because that way people are going to get that second book too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if no one else will my first book, who's going to read the second? Right? I'm considering it's a direct continuation. Oh, yeah. Second piece of advice. So if you're querying, and this is something that my mom told me and it stuck with me all this time, and she just said, your time will come. Right? That's all she said. And this came on the heels of me sitting again, having a talk with her. And I was kind of just complaining to her about how many rejections I got. Excuse me, how I felt like I was never going to get published. I'm like, I just keep getting rejected. And I would get a full request and I would get rejected. I would get a partial request and I get ghosted or rejected.
Hmm.
And I was getting really, really demoralized at this point. And then she didn't say anything. I'm like, is she even listening to me? But she was. And she just said, she's like, you know what? She's like, don't worry. I'm like, what do you mean, don't worry? She's like, your time will come. Right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, after she said that, I just felt like a big weight was off my shoulders because, to be honest, it's like as much as we want control of things, once your query letter and your package is out to agents, once your agents have submitted to editors, there's nothing you can do. Right?
Yeah.
There's literally nothing you can do. You have to sit there and wait, and the wait is excruciating. But you just have to kind of, it helps to sit back and just let the chips fall where they may, and
Hmm.
trust that when it's your time, you'll know.
Yeah. Like I feel like
Hmm.
the first 2 or 3 years I was querying, I was like, all right, I'm going to get an agent. Like that was my goal. And that's completely out of my
Hmm.
in all shapes or
Yeah.
forms. So
Hmm.
I've now shifted. I'm like, okay, I am going to like query 30 agents, or I'm going to do this, or I'm
Hmm.
just going to write the best story I can. And
Yeah.
really
Exactly.
shifting it to something I actually have
Hmm.
control of.
Yeah. I mean, because that's all you can do, right? Because I said once
Yeah.
they have it, you can't do anything. The only thing you can do, like you said, is just to keep writing your craft, right? Keep writing your craft. Keep keep bettering. Wow.
It totally
No,
made
I can't
sense.
speak.
I understood exactly what you meant.
You're like, I know what
Everybody
she meant.
else
I'm
will
like, I
too.
don't know what I did. Like, I don't know what I just said. But like, so keep bettering your craft, keep submitting, keep looking for, yeah, and also like looking for other avenues of publishing, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's going with a small publisher or going with like a mid-sized publisher, or maybe pivoting and writing a whole different book, acquiring that instead,
Hmm.
right? Like publishing is never a straight path,
No.
and just be
And
ready
what
to
doesn't
pivot.
work out now might work
Hmm.
out later. Like
Exactly.
um the one story I have that I'm querying, I think I've been querying it for like 4 years now.
I know the
So
feeling.
um
Yeah.
and at this point, I'm just like I'm kind of like on the lookout when new agents come on and I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
that they might be a good
Yeah.
fit. And so I send it to that person because they don't like, I haven't sent it to them before. And maybe it's gonna speak to them in the way it didn't speak to somebody
Hmm.
else. Or somebody's gonna be like, oh, you know what? The market wasn't right for this 5 years ago, but now the market wants this. So yeah, like
Yeah.
never,
Markets keep changing. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, don't just because it doesn't work out now, like you said, everything will come.
Hmm. Yeah. And like I said, and just because, like you said, just because it doesn't work out now doesn't mean it won't work out later.
Yeah.
Right. And you never know who's going to love your story, even
Yeah.
though like I've gotten full requests from agents who had like no manuscript wish list or very vague manuscript wish list.
Mhm.
And I've gotten like same day or like 24-hour, form rejections oh my gosh, from agents. I can't talk anymore. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Deep
And
breath.
I've gotten, yeah, and I've gotten 24-hour form rejections from agents
Yeah.
whose manuscript wish list I closely matched.
Yes.
So you really just never know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Just this one,
much.
yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, all
Yes.
right. So what can you tell us about Midnight Song? Can you just give us a little bit of teaser of what to expect without, remember, no spoilers for Ocean Song, just like what's
Okay. Um, it's gonna sound really generic, and I apologize in advance, but I don't want to give you spoilers. Uh, so I just got a cover for today. Well, the cover proof for today, which is super exciting, and I'm dying to share it, and I can't.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's almost done. The back cover is not great, so they need to fix that.
Mhm.
But so okay, Midnight Song takes place about a year after the events of Ocean Song. Right, everything's going well. The merfolk, it's not really spoiled, it's a romance, right? So Angie and Katie are together, the merfolk and humans are doing well, and then somebody commits a massive betrayal against one of those sides, which threatens to plunge the mer and humans back into another, possibly cataclysmic war.
Okay.
And Angie and Katie now have to come together while fighting on two separate sides and being separated to find a way to stop this war before it happens. Otherwise, the Murray humans will never come together and interest again, and they could end up separated forever.
Ooh, high
So
stakes.
that's my like very very vague synopsis
Yeah.
of it.
No, but I mean, but it's I know it sounds generic, but like I feel like you hit all these major points that people are like, ooh, this, a betrayal. Like I love a good betrayal. Love a good betrayal in a book.
I
So
love it when I don't see it coming. I'm like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, I got me good.
yeah, like the least I never expected it to be that person. Um,
Hmm. Yes, I read a lot of thrillers and mysteries, and I always try to guess who it
mhm.
is. I'm like, oh, who's the perpetrator? Like who's doing this? What's going on? And when I guess right, I'm like, okay, still good, but I guess right. And when I'm completely wrong and the twist makes sense,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is getting instant 5 stars from me. I did not see that coming. And I read a lot of thrillers.
No,
Hmm.
that's always fun. Always
Yeah,
fun.
it's so
Um,
fun.
So, Scribblers, if you're watching, you need to follow CW on social media. And again, I'm not sure which side she's going to end up on, but that way
Yay.
you can see the cover reveal. Do you have a newsletter?
I do. It's very
Okay.
sporadic right now because I'm honestly I'm terrible about like making a schedule to send it out, and also
Mhm.
like for a while I had nothing to share. So I'm like, well, because I was waiting on edits for a couple of months.
Yeah.
There was some internal changes by publisher, so I was waiting on edits. I'm like, I really have nothing else to share at this point, so I just didn't send anything. But
Okay.
yes, I do have a newsletter. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to be better about it, especially as like Midnight Songs release gets a little bit closer as we get toward the end of the year, and hopefully I'll have some more news to share and be
Yeah.
looking for arc readers and cover reveal, um, and people to help with that. Hopefully, within the next few months.
Yeah. So please like follow,
Yeah.
do all those kinds of things, get on CW's radar so that you can see these covers and be part of that. Like that's
Hmm.
all right, audience, that's your homework. The teacher in me is giving you homework.
Yes, and bonus, if you're on my Instagram, and my TikTok, I do share books I'm currently reading, so maybe you'll
Yeah.
find your next 5-star read on there too.
Yes.
Lots of beautiful
Um,
covers.
So we have made it to the lightning round questions. Are
Yeah.
you ready?
I think so.
Okay. So first off, what is your favorite tea?
Ooh, green. Anything green. I love matcha, sencha, jasmine. Give me a mix of all of them. I will drink all of them. I love green tea.
I do love a good jasmine,
Oh yeah.
like, oh,
Oh,
so
the
good.
smell.
Yeah.
The floral smell.
Yep.
Heavenly. So
Yeah.
good.
Delightful. Delightful. I am a big Earl Grey fan, which I feel is very basic. Um,
My mom loves Earl Grey.
but it just speaks to my heart. So I drink a lot of it.
I mean, Earl Grey is also amazing. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, honestly, my mom is also like we are like we're like tea fanatics in my
Mhm.
house. And my mom's favorite is actually Earl Grey. She's like, out of all the teas I've ever had, she's like, Earl Grey is my favorite. She's like, there's just something about it,
There,
about like the texture and the smell.
mhm. I
She
really
loves
like
it, and
when
I
there's
love
like
it too.
an extra bergamot in there. Like it's
Oh,
like that's really
yes.
good. But jasmine and like the floral teas, I didn't think I was gonna like floral kind of earthy teas, but I love them. It's one of my favorite things now.
Hmm. I love floral teas.
Yeah.
I love floral teas, and I love like the grassy teas, which is why I like matcha. And
Mhm.
I'll just take shots of matcha straight. I'm like,
Amazing.
people are like, oh, it's so bitter. You drink this? I'm like, it's so good. Just like energizes me.
I
So yes,
support that
great tea all the way.
100%. Um, so what is the coolest thing that you've ever seen while scuba diving?
Have to say sea turtles in
Yeah.
Hawaii.
How big were
Yeah,
they?
and what was that?
How big were they? Were they like bigger
Oh,
than
they were
you?
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really big. So I've always wanted to see sea turtles. I've been to Hawaii twice, like in my lifetime, and the first time I went diving, I didn't see any there. I saw like some fish. I'm like, oh, fish are cute. They're very pretty. And the second time, I was with a different company. I went out and they dropped us off at a spot. There was just like sea turtle central.
Uh-huh.
They were above your head. They were under you. We saw them in caves. It's like probably like 10, 15 of them. And they used like swim right next to them. I'm like, this is amazing.
That is really cool.
And they're just like such like, majestic creatures. And they're kind of cute with their little beaks and
They
little
are.
beady eyes.
I love
Yeah,
turtles like in general. Turtles are just, I think, great animals.
they're
I've only
amazing, right? They
seen them
live
in the zoo.
forever.
I've never seen like cool wild turtles.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever see them again, but I'm going to treasure that moment.
Yeah.
Close to my heart. I'm like, oh, sea turtles. Okay.
Yeah, no, you absolutely should. Absolutely should. Okay, so this one might be a tougher question. What book
Mhm.
have you read this year that we all need to add to our TBR right now?
All right, can I pick three? Or does
Yes.
it have to be one? Okay. No, because I read a lot and I love so many books. So when people ask me my favorite, I'm like, I don't know. I have so many favorites. Like I've read so many good ones.
Yeah.
Sorry about those a little dry today.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so if you like romantasy, enemies lovers romantasy, A Monsoon Rising by Thea Guanzan.
Okay.
It's really good. It's actually book two to Hurricane War series. Southeast Asian mythology inspired. She does enemies to lovers so well.
Love
Like
it.
that
Still lovers.
it's just the chemistry just like crackles. And it's just a very well written book. That's book two. I think it's gonna be a trilogy. I think there's one more coming out. The book I'm reading now is actually I actually have it with me right now. So if you like cozy fantasy, this book is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst.
Okay.
It is the sweetest little cozy fantasy where it's just about this librarian that goes to live on an island with like mer horses and winged cats, and it says like jam shop. So cozy fantasy, I love it. It's my first foray into it. I'm not disappointed.
You just
Really
said
good book.
horses, and I'm like 100% in. I'm like, I need to get a copy.
Yeah, I
Done.
saw mer horse. Yeah, I saw mer horse and winged cats. I'm like, okay. And also I met the author. She's super sweet.
Yeah.
At one of her signings.
And
The last one
cozy
is
fantasies also sounds good just
yeah,
because I think that we need it in today's world. Like we just need that little
yeah.
like hug from a good book.
Yeah, sometimes you read like dark books, which and I like dark books, and I know so I'm getting into. I read a dark book before that, and then one of my author friends wants me to arc read her dark book, and I'm like, I need a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I can't do two dark books in a row.
No.
So this is like so it's the perfect palate cleanser. It's just super light, like low stakes, and it's just something you like to cleanse your palate between like heavier reads.
Yeah.
Um, the
Our
last one I
third
recommend if you want to support was that.
I was just reminding you it was your third book.
Oh, yes, this is my third book. Yes, my last one. I know I am terrible. Tell me your favorite book. I'm like, can I give you 10? Like, okay.
Yeah, we don't have
um,
rules here. We do whatever we want. So three is perfect.
I appreciate that. I'm like, I could go on more, but I'm not gonna. This will be here for like the next hour. Just monopolizing your time with book talk, which I
That's
like, but
that is
not
a
for that
good
long.
reason to talk. Absolutely.
I know I love talking books. So if you want to support an indie author, this author is actually a friend of mine. She wrote a really good book. This is more like more historical romance.
Hmm.
Her name is Lucia Demisa. I hope I'm saying it right. And the book is called A Glorious Decade. It is a book that's kind of written in the style of like Daisy Jones and the Six. So it's very like it's a transcript style, and it has a love triangle, and it just reads very much like a Hollywood expose. So if you're
Nice.
into like Hollywood stars, Hollywood scandals, I really, really enjoyed that one. Like I didn't think I would like as much as I did, but I loved it.
No, that sounds really good. Okay, so now we all have three amazing books to add into
Yes,
our
please add those.
TBRs.
Hmm.
Thank you. Because we
Sure. More
those
to
will
help out because
always
I'm always
be
adding to
more,
mine.
always.
And I'm always
Um,
adding to mine. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, I keep trying to read it every Tuesday. I'm like, oh, new book set. Let me just add these to my DVR too. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, crap.
Bye,
Now
bye.
there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's my
right.
vice.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Anything from Disney or Phantom of the Opera. Okay, so I'm going to. I know it's like two.
Cheating.
It's like two extremes. I love Part of Your World.
Yeah.
I know it's cliche, given what I write, and I also love doing How Far I'll Go by from Moana.
Hmm.
And
Love
Phantom
that
Opera,
song.
I like. Yeah, Phantom Opera. I actually like singing "Think of Me" or "Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again." Those two songs are really fun.
Yeah.
Also, gives my vocal cords a nice exercise, nice
Yes.
stretch.
Oh, that's awesome. Like, do you normally go like do you karaoke with friends or with family or both?
I usually go with friends. My family is not so much into karaoke, although I know on our next cruise vacation, my mom wants to do karaoke, so I want to take her. My brother
Love
wants
it.
to come watch. He won't sing, but he'll come watch. And I do like a lot of car karaoke on my own.
Yes, same. Lots of car
It's like a
karaoke.
music. Yeah,
You
because especially if you've got like a long commute feel from work, I'm like I said, it's better than like getting angry because I'm a New York driver.
yeah,
People in New York are angry, and people. And I'm like, it's better than getting road rage. Let's just sing a song. I'll
it
calm
is.
myself
I have
down.
driven in a lot of places, and New York is a place I refuse to drive in. So like when I
I
would
don't
go to
blame you.
BookCon, I had a
Hmm.
friend who was actually born on Long Island, and so she would always drive
Nice.
because she was fine. She was like, whatever, and she would just I don't know how she did it. It was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like from coming out of town, like all my friends and family that come out of town, they drive here. They're like, "How do you do this?"
Yeah,
They're like, "This is crazy," because you get people like jaywalk in front of you, like randomly. Someone will turn right from the left lane. You're
yeah,
gonna get honked at if you go like 5 miles too slow. People like swerve around you. I'm just like, oh my
yeah.
gosh,
It gives me like a little mini heart attack. And I've driven like
yeah,
Pittsburgh, it can get crazy. If you've ever driven through Pittsburgh, it can get a little weird. Like I've driven through Los Angeles. I was fine. Like Los Angeles, I was like, this is so pleasant. Like I
yeah.
was,
LA isn't that bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I feel like I always had a really now I'm getting off topic. I always
Okay.
expected LA traffic to be bad because of the movie Clueless.
I mean, it is pretty bad. To be fair, it is because I do have family and friends there, but I still like driving there a lot better than because people are still nicer there.
Yes, yeah, they are. They're pretty like chill about things, so that's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. New York is not chill. We love you, New York, but you're not chill about driving.
No, they are not. As any New Yorker, we know it. Like, I fully admit that I have, that I sometimes get road rage. I try not to. This
Mhm.
is why I put on This is why I put on podcasts and I sing in the car.
Yeah.
Because it's just because the way people drive here, I'm like, who taught you to drive? Like, what is this?
Where did you learn this? Because nobody taught you. Um,
Anyway, so that's my secret. I try to come off mellow. Then people get in a car with me. They're like, you okay? I'm like, this idiot in front of me is not moving. There's no one in front of them. I can see it. Anyway, I like honk, honk, honk.
yeah. And then you just like start singing part of your world, and then it's all good.
Exactly. And then I have other colleagues who listen to meditations, or
Yeah.
and when they drive in, it starts sitting in traffic. So, yep, New
You
York
find
City
a way to
driving.
adapt. You adapt to your environment.
Exactly. And that's the great thing about humans is we adapt.
Yeah. All right.
Hmm.
So last lightning round
Yes.
question. Who would you cast as Angie and Caden in a film adaptation of Ocean Song?
So I would definitely want to cast maybe more unknown actors.
Mhm.
Well, maybe Angie's wouldn't be so unknown. She's the person I have in my first, pretty famous, at least in Asia. So I don't know the model James D. Kim. He's like a biracial Korean model.
Okay.
Really, really handsome. There are so many pictures of him in the water. I'm just like, I'm like he's kidding. And he always has
He's
that like
already
playful
auditioning.
smile.
You just don't know it. He's just auditioning for the
Yeah,
role.
like he has no clue. I'm like, I don't know like where he's modeled. I just saw him on Pinterest. I'm just like, this is kid right here. So his name is James D. Kim, again, a Korean American model. might be Korean British, I'm not sure, but he's biracial. And for Angie, I don't know if you like K-pop, but the band Blackpink, there's a member
Yes,
there,
I love Blackpink.
yeah, Rose from Blackpink, which
Okay,
if she had black hair, I think she looks just like Angie.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I know her
I'm
hair
writing
is
these
usually like
names
dyed,
down so that I can find pictures and like put them in the video so that people can see these.
Yeah, and I'm like, she looks like Angie. She has, she does like a really good pouty face. Angie's kind of like pissed off half the time. Like she does a really good like, like serious face, and
Yeah.
and like her with long hair, with long black hair. I'm like, okay, this could be Angie.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Yeah, similar
amazing.
face shape, similar facial structure.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Excellent. All right. So you heard it here first. There, when this movie is made one day, this is
Oh
who
my
we're
gosh, if I could get those two, ugh, I don't think I'll ever get them, but it would be a dream.
so cool. Like, I feel like that's just like one of those dreams, right? We have to throw it out into the universe so
Hmm.
the universe knows and will make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, we have to manifest and then
Yeah.
also do our part to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
My belief.
Well, thank you so much for like this amazing chat. Like this has been so much fun. But you can find links, Scribblers, to CW's web pages down below in the description. So be sure to check it out, order your own copy of Ocean Song, or to find out when Midnight Song comes out. You can get it on pre-order. You can see the beautiful cover reveal, all those different
Hmm.
things. So CW, thank you so much for joining the Scribblers Den today. I have had so much fun chatting with you. I can't wait to finish reading Ocean Song, which I don't know if I can get the cover, guys. Like, look at this. Look how gorgeous this is.
Thank you. I would definitely tell our cover designers because, like I said, I wish I could take credit for that. That is none of that is me, but I will tell my editor
Yeah, like
and
it's
the cover
cool.
designers. Yeah. Sorry. But
No,
yes,
I'm
thank you for
so
having me on
sorry that like
today.
you've got a little bit of a sore throat.
No, it's just it's my allergies. I don't know what it's from.
Yeah,
Maybe my dog is shedding. That's probably why.
maybe. And it's just like
Yeah,
the heat and the humidity, like it makes your allergies that much worse.
yeah. It makes my throat very very dry. But
Yeah.
yes, thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun today, and it was a great chat.
Yeah.
And the
Awesome.
time
All
flew by
right.
really fast.
All right. So scribblers, you know the drill. I need you to hit that like button. I'm never sure where my fingers are.
Mm.
I always go way far out. Okay. So I need you to hit that like button, scribblers, and I need you to subscribe so that you'll get video notifications of when we post new videos on YouTube. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Yay! Bye.